But I also remember being inspired by you, just the way you were working on art. And I don't know how you got into this, but the first thing I saw was actually, you weren't there displaying it, but the first thing I saw was, this was you, right? A clapping machine that you had to clap to make it go forward. Was that your art with two collaborators, right?
Well, with four collaborators, yeah.
Oh man,
That was a
this
2003 piece, yeah.
that was the first thing I ever saw. Can you explain it a little? Like unfold the story of that?
Yeah, wow. Haven't thought about that piece in a while. That piece was called Applause, and it was a little movie theater that you'd walk into, and it would be frozen, but there'd be a couple mics there. And what people would find by exploration is that the movie would only play if they applauded. It was actually using like a audio detection to detect clapping, and so you'd see these kids playing as black and white film, and you'd applaud and it would start to go, and then you'd applaud and it would build momentum, and at a certain point you'd applaud and it would just go, and then as soon as it went, there'd be this threshold that got crossed where it wouldn't stop. But then it wouldn't just be kids playing. You would realize that actually that footage was from what's her name, Leni Riefenstahl, and it was footage of Nazi Germany camps, like basically raising Nazis. And you had become unconsciously complicit in making that happen when it seemed like something that you wanted to support. And then it rolled away past your control. So in some sense, it was all about the way that that happens in our cultural dynamics, where people are supporting things and then they just run rampantly out of control. It was pretty intense. A lot of people got really disturbed by being made complicit in something like that. And yet that was the whole point.
I was clapping and the film was playing, and the way I remember it, I don't know if this is how it happened, but I remember it being like a parade. It switched from playing into a parade. This is just in my memory. Black and white. There was people like cheering and flags flying and people like marching. And I was like, okay, and I'm still clapping. And then at some point you realize it's some kind of, maybe it's a Hitler speech or something like that. And then you slowly like stop clapping and you're like, whoa, I'm like clapping for this and making it happen. And I guess I guess if half of Germany participated, then something in that must be in all of us, but it was really powerful. And I don't even know if I knew you yet or not, but maybe I did. But that was the first thing that I experienced that you had made.
It's a weird first data point. But yeah, it's funny to feel the tension even in you just talking about it now 20 years later. You know, it's an intense thing to feel part of something like that that's totally in the end against your value system. And you know, there's a book, I think it's called Hitler's Willing Executioners, about how a lot of people got caught up, and not bad people, just people caught up the way that all of us get caught up in things. And that's some of the potency to me, is really feeling like these cultural waves just move beyond what people understand, what people are conscious of. It's huge. And, you know, it connects into intergenerational conditioning that we all have.
I feel like that not bad people part is something that not everybody will understand. Like, I feel that it's so true. I feel like a lot of people will feel like, not bad people. Of course, they're bad people. I would never do that. It's interesting.
I think it's really, it's something that I wouldn't have agreed with 15 years ago, and now I utterly take it for granted. And I think there's certain things that once you are open to feeling the complexity and the pain around them, they are one-way streets. And one of them is to feel into, if I go straight to the most kind of edgy way to say it, it's to look at, say, like a terrorist. Let's just go straight to the red zone, you know? What are the things that most fundamentally and most basically a terrorist wants? They want connection. They want safety. They want, actually, when you remove it from their skillfulness or lack of skillfulness about getting what they want, which I'm not arguing the skillfulness of any of it, when you just go to the raw, basic human needs, they want exactly the same thing as everyone else.
So are you saying, like, someone might say revenge or something, but you're saying underneath the revenge is a safety, or
it's always about going to all the way to the bottom. It's the surface waves are massively skillful or unskillful depending on the person. But it's interesting. One of the things I think is most interesting about the translation of the Bible is that the word sin got mistranslated, and it's usually considered doing something wrong. and which puts us right into this like right and wrong kind of thing. But actually, when you look at the original way it was used, it's to miss the point of something. It's much more about having ignorance that leads to a lack of skillfulness around something. And revenge is a lack of skillfulness around wanting to be treated fairly, wanting to have certain opportunities, wanting to have a certain safety and connection. But if you haven't been shown how to get those things skillfully, then whatever your reaction is going to be, it's going to be. And that's, yeah, it's deeply controversial, especially we're in a broadcast mode right now, so we can't engage the listener to hear their concerns around it and feedback. But if I was actually in with a group of people, this would be a very open-ended discussion to get through all those emotions, because there's a lot that's there. And a lot of us don't want to feel that, because it's that kind of like a stormtrooper effect. Like, it's much easier to hate the other side when they're anonymous. And it's much harder to know any one of those people as a human being and continue that kind of charade of separation.